Jets, I hear them saying now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, everybody? Woo! 10-0, baby. Aaron Rodgers is coming to the New York Jets. It's just a matter of when. And woo! Sorry about that. Just had to get that out. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers has announced that, via Pat Mcafee show, huge day for Pat Mcafee and the boys. They had over 300,000 people listening for Aaron Rodgers. The decision wasn't made on the show. The decision was made on Friday. On Friday, the decision was made, according to Aaron Rodgers, that he wants to continue to play and wants to be a New York Jet. And he wasn't the holdup. The holdup is the compensation of what the Packers want in return for Aaron Rodgers. And that is why we're being held hostage. And it's not because of Rodgers. And that makes me feel a lot better. It makes me kind of feel bad for Rodgers in a sense, because so many people are just trashing him and saying he's arrogant, he's selfish, make a decision, we're going crazy. It's really the Packers. The Packers are kind of being stingy. I've heard they possibly want 2 first-round picks, like a Stafford return, and then we heard that wasn't true, and then we heard it was true. We really don't know what the Packers want. We do know the Packers don't want Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback. They're getting that wish. They're able to now see what Jordan Love has. You drafted him 26th overall. You didn't even just draft him. You traded into the first round to draft him when Rodgers and everyone in the world thought they were going to get a wide receiver for him. That wasn't the case. I'm talking really fast. But in terms of that, Aaron Rodgers wants to be a New York Jet. And it's crazy to me what I really got to that conversation. Great conversation, by the way. When he went into the darkness, 90% chance he wanted to retire. That's what he thought he was going to do. And I think it's all about the competitiveness. When they drafted Jordan Love, Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs. And when he was going into the darkness, it was basically, we'll wait and see from Green Bay. When he was in the darkness, Green Bay, there's multiple reports, they were pretty all set with him, right? You could so see that they want to move on. And then even the CEO after the darkness said, basically we want to move on without saying it. All indications pointed that him and the Green Bay Packers were over Aaron Rodgers. They wanted to move on. They were grateful how great he's been in the last 18 years. Brought them a championship, but it's time to move on. I think everyone could agree with that. That definitely fueled Rodgers, because then he said, hey, listen, let me see what I can do. I want to work out, see how my body feels. I love that. His body felt good. The meeting went great. It seemed like Robert Saleh was really interested in the darkness. Love that. Nathaniel Hackett was a big reason that really brought him towards the Jets. And, it just kind of helped this really facilitate easier, smoother. It obviously caught his attention. Like, maybe I do want to play for the Jets because of Nathaniel Hackett. And he did say that this definitely wasn't the whole reason why the Jets hired Hackett. The organization, obviously, he respects Hackett. Hackett's a great coach, blah, blah, blah. He raved about Hackett. But obviously, Hackett was a reason, to kind of bring Rodgers in to New York. And it definitely worked. It helped. Rodgers said he felt great. And then on Friday, he said, he wants to play. And his intention is to play for the New York Jets. So that is official. He is going to be a New York Jet. It's just a matter of when now. When is this trade going to be made? Can it please be soon? I'm optimistic that it can be soon, but it seems like Rodgers knows as much as us when the time will actually occur. So that's the thing we're waiting for. But everyone just wanted to know, what does Aaron Rodgers think? What does he think? What does he want to do? We know now. He wants to be a Jet. He wants to be a goddamn New York Jet, baby. It's official. We can finally stop worrying that, all of this so he can retire, or all of this so he could just go back to Green Bay. That's not happening. He's going to be a Jet. We are going to be watching 17 games in the regular season of Aaron Rodgers playing football for the team that we root for, and let's hope it extends 17 games, but let's just keep it at that. It's going to be fun leading up to the regular season, and before anything happens, before anything can happen, just say, hey, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback in the New York Jets. Sounds pretty good. But yeah, that conversation was great, facilitated by McAfee. AJ Hawk supposedly knew for almost a week what Rodgers was doing. McAfee and the boys basically were saying all like the last 2 weeks that that Hawk knows what Rodgers is going to lean towards. They kept on speculating that he was in Rodgers' inner circle. It's confirmed he is. Hawk is one of those guys that are in his inner circle and knew. He said probably by last Tuesday, AJ knew that he was coming back and obviously eventually coming back to play, hopefully for the New York Jets. And now it's just, what does Green Bay expect? I don't know. You're not going to get 2 first-rounders. Get out of here. I think a second-rounder and then a pick, maybe a second-round pick next year that can turn into a first if some type of incentive. If Rodgers takes the Jets to the AFC Championship or like wins the division or plays the second season, something like that written down on the contract. It's either 2 2s or 2 and a 1 if Rodgers, is able to complete that incentive, whether that is what I just said or something different. We don't know specifically, but I think that's what it's leaning towards. 2 firsts, including a 13th overall, I think is unrealistic for a 39-year-old quarterback whose future after 2023 is once again blurry and unknown. We don't know. I don't even care about the next year yet. And if Jets fans say, 1 year, that's it, no thanks. If you are saying no thanks to Aaron Rodgers for 1 year when there's nobody else on the market, you're crazy, man. Like, okay, no way. We're going to roll out Zach Wilson, going to sign Jacoby Brissett. You're going to trade for Ryan Tannehill. What are you going to do? And get out of here with the trading for Matt Stafford. I would rather take Rodgers for 1 year than Stafford because Stafford might not even have another good year in him. And I think Rodgers, it's confirmed, he's still got really good football left in him. 7th in NFL in touchdowns last year with a broken hand or broken finger, a thumb, one of the main fingers that you need to throw a ball. You know how hard that is in his throwing hand? Even just taking the snaps in the cold and not even fumbling the ball, it's impressive. He won the MVP 2 years before that in a row. His stats was just bananas. It was like 65 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns, 65 touchdowns and 8 interceptions combined in the last 2. Don't quote me on those exact numbers, but it's in that ballpark. Insane numbers that he has posted. So if you're one of those people who don't want Rodgers for a year, you are insane. And I mentioned this yesterday in my video, and I will mention it again for those who haven't seen it. Basically, ESPN is coming up. Some guys I've never even heard of before in the ESPN radio. Shout out to them. I mean, they made it to ESPN. I did not. So shout out to them. But anyway, I don't agree with this narrative. There's a narrative going around that I've heard on NFL Network too. Some of these analysts are saying, the Jets are blowing up their young talent for old players to make Rodgers happy. How are they blowing up their young talent? They haven't gotten rid of one young guy. They didn't trade Elijah Moore. That is pretend. Corey Davis is not Corey Davis. He's not the guy he was. He's injured all the time. You upgraded easily with Alan Lazard, with this man. You definitely upgraded. And by the way, right after my video came out yesterday, Alan Lazard signed for a 4-year deal. I haven't even mentioned that yet. 4 years, $44 million, 22 guaranteed. The only numbers you have to look at are the first 2 years. He's making $11 million over the next 2 years to get 22. And that is a heck of a deal. Not overpay. You're crazy if you think it's an overpay. And he was Rodgers' main target last year. 60 catches, 788 yards, 6 touchdowns. The yards and the receptions were career highs. And the touchdowns was second most. He had 8 the year before that. So 14 touchdowns over the last 2 years for Alan Lazard. Big, physical, great blocker, knock out of the park, great sign. Obviously indicated that this man was coming as well. So love that. But again, they're not blowing anything up. Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis, if they come here, by the way, Rodgers said it's kind of bullshit, really, that what ESPN was reporting, he never replied to Diane Rossini, who I did give a lot of credit that she has been a good source of Rodgers. She has no sources, apparently. He didn't even answer her. And then the report came out that he had a wish list. He said, yeah, I mean, it could be true. He wants to play with those guys, but it was never that he said, hey, you got to sign these guys for me to come. That was all bullshit. So stop just making up these rumors, people. And he basically told Scheffner to get lost, lose his number. Schefter didn't know anything either. So Trey Wingo, shout out to you, was the guy who had the sources somehow. I think he had an in on the New York Jets, not Rodgers specifically, but he said it was going to get done yesterday too. He's right. Aaron Rodgers wants to come to the Jets. It's a done thing. It's just they got to facilitate a trade now. But anyway, they're not getting rid of their young talent to replace with Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis. Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis combined, both of them, the last 3 years have made $9 million combined. Cobb making $6 million in those 3 years, and Mercedes Lewis making $3 million. So he's making $1 million a year. They're playing under veteran minimum. They're not going to replace Garrett Wilson. They're not going to replace Uzama and Conklin. They're not going to replace Elijah Moore. Get out of here. Cobb is going to be the 5th receiver at best. Mercedes Lewis will probably be the 3rd or 4th tight end. And if he's the 4th, great. You have a rookie tight end who you drafted this year going into his 2nd year out of Ohio State named Jeremy Ruckert, who can learn so much from a guy like Mercedes Lewis. I ran into this rant a little bit already before, but it's crazy. You're not blowing up your young talent for 2 guys who are going to play under the veterans minimum. That is not blowing up your roster. What are you talking about? I could see if they were trading Elijah Moore and trading these guys, but they're not getting rid of them. Elijah Moore's still going to play unless he is traded, but it wasn't like they were going to trade him straight up for Randall Cobb. That's what we're acting like. That's what they're acting like. It's insane. You give Aaron Rodgers what he wants. He's a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and this has been a team who has had suffering year in, year out, 12 straight years with no playoffs. They will have the largest drought in professional sport in terms of playoff drought once the Kings make it this year in the NBA. The Kings have the longest drought. They're going to break it, obviously. They got the coach of the year, Mike Brown. They got a young squad, and they're finally going into the playoffs this year. I think they're 4th in the West right now. The Jets, 12 years. Mark Sanchez was the quarterback. Rex Ryan was the head coach. I was 13 years old. 14 years old last time they made the playoffs. Yeah, I was 14 years old the last time they made the playoffs. 12 years ago. Do the math. It's been a long time. And your quarterbacks consist after Sanchez, Geno Smith, Bryce Petty, Sam Darnold, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I can go on and on and on. It's terrible. Let's stop. Give Rodgers what he wants. If he wants 2 veteran minimum guys who will make an impact in the locker room and not replace anyone like you're saying, great. They're not blowing up their young roster. Get out of here with that narrative. That doesn't even make sense. They're acting like literally they have to trade Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson just to make space for Randall Cobb and freaking Mercedes Lewis. I mean, they just want something to talk about. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. He's going to the Jets. I forgot to put this up, but he wants to be in New York, and that is what's going to happen, and that's the whole purpose of this video right now. Just wanted to give you my reaction. I had to really just sink in my emotions to really just, before I get on here and speak. I have this video. I couldn't upload it on the video here, but you can't see it. Well, anyway, it's me celebrating. Can you see it now? Oh, I think you can now. Yep. Yep, that's what insanity looks like. That's what this team has made me, insane. And that is just the relief of all the insanity over the years that I've been a Jets fan. And that just bursted out when Rodgers says, I intend to play for the New York Jets. That's what insanity looks like, man. That's what it looks like. All right, I can't even operate a phone, but you get the point. That's what it looks like, ladies and gents. But obviously, I'm very happy. I can't even explain how happy I am. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. Matter of time. When is this going to happen? That we do not know. Please subscribe to the channel at Turn Up the Jets on YouTube. Like the video if you liked it. And then follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Turn Up the Jets. All one word. I'll say it again. Aaron Rodgers wants to be a New York Jet. Again. He wants to be a New York Jet. We'll see you next time. Let's go.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jet, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, white, green.